Congratulations, first of all, on the win, but also congrats on jumping all the way up to NAL from T3. Here you are, and you're making a big impact already. What's the biggest adjustment you've had to make coming into the NAL as a player?
I mean, I guess just like the environment. Like, I haven't played like players like this good like ever. Like, I mean, there's been like here and there, but like for the most part, like I'm just like beating up on little kids in T3, and then I get out here and like I get smoked. I'm like, oh my gosh. But like, I think land is just like, once I like fully got it, like it's just so like smooth and just like, it just makes the game so much more like fun. And just like trash talking everyone after it went around. Like,
yes, sir.
I just got here and like I'm already beating all these teams. Like,
doesn't get any better.
So I mean, Gunnar, you you came right from T3, right? You didn't have to play in any Challenger League games. So how was it that Parabellum discovered you? How did you link up with this team, and who was it on that squad that like gave you a chance, brought you up, and what was the process like jumping onto PB?
It's funny, like I was just in the middle of a ranked game, and my old team, because like me and Kool-Aid, we won CCS together in T3. Like he was my teammate for a long time. Like we've always been like really good friends, and like I didn't know they were making any moves or anything. He just DMs me. He's like, yo, you available this weekend? I'm like, yeah. Why? He goes, don't worry about it. Like, okay. And then like 5 minutes later, the coach DMs me and like asked me to get in a call, and like that's when they like asked me to try out. But like it just happened like literally out of nowhere. Like,
wow,
I wasn't expecting it. Yeah, that's how it came up.
So obviously, like, your reputation, like from T3, obviously precedes you. But do you like the way that you're being utilized on this team? It's been a lot of line, it's seemingly a lot like some flank watch positions, like so to speak. But that first game where you were playing Nook, the crazy play at the very beginning, and then a lot more Finka play as today has progressed. How do you think you're fitting in with this team, and do you like it so far?
I think this is like, because like for a while, like I mean, I always used to play like Sledge and everything like T3, like so like I've always been like, even when I played Sledge, like I was more of an entry, but like the way like I'm utilized on this team, it's like just go kill. So like if I'm online, it's not like I'm sitting there on a cam like holding people. Like I'm online for like a purpose. Like if that's to hold someone, fall back and then push in, or if that's to hit the button and go crazy inside. Like that's our line. Like but yeah, I mean I love it. Like Blaz goes in, shoots people, I walk in behind him and pick up the scraps. So like it's really fun.
Nice. Well, hey, it's certainly working out pretty well so far. But thanks for taking the time to sit down and chat with us, and good luck in your game tomorrow.
Thank you. You guys have a good one.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Rainbow Six North American League. Doa Jacob Jesse here with you at the analyst desk, and over in Vegas, standing by is none other than Beastcoast's own Drip. That's right, Beastcoast get the big win over Spacestation Gaming today. So, Drip, I was going to ask you first off, obviously, week one was a little bit rough. Week two, you come in, you beat Space Station. Was it just Sweater, or what was it today that got you the win?
I mean, we should have beat OXG. We were up 4-0. I played like a bum, and that happened. It's going to happen in Siege. I take responsibility for that loss, but we came back. We knew SSG, no matter how bad we play, no matter how bad I personally play, Skies is always so generous to give me 3 points every time I play him. Doesn't matter if he's on DZ or SSG, so... I mean, that's pretty much our strategy going into the game, is I'm on the team. Be a free win by default.
Drip,
there you go.
I wanted to ask you about the man who went crazy today. I want to ask you about Sweater. Coming into this game, he had the most opening deaths of any player in the league. Today, obviously, that was not a problem. Was that something that you guys have been working on over the last week to try to make sure he can stay alive longer these rounds so he can frag, or was that just happened to work out better today?
We kind of let him do him because you got to let the kitten off the leash. I'm sure you saw the call.
Yeah.
The cat ears. We had to really power him up today, and he was just in a good mood. So we said, do whatever you want. Obviously, there were some restraints to that, but I mean, sometimes you got to let a player like that loose. And I mean, for him, it was just a little too easy. He just runs around and gets kills, and those guys are. I mean, when they won invite, they were playing plumbers and janitors, so you know they can't compete with young bloods like Sweater. So it is what it is. It's not much strategy involved to beat SSG, if I'm being honest.
Main thing to look at from weeks 1 to 2 was the fact that you guys played Theme Park twice last week, wasn't able to make it work. What was the biggest difference from an attacking perspective from what you did last week to now? Because obviously, like, Sweater can do what he does, but if you had to pinpoint something specific that really catapulted you over the edge today, what was it?
Just our teamwork, and Sweater just was telling us that we had, or he just said, I see a play here, this and that. And, you know, when your player says that, you trust him, and he kept opening rounds up for us. Theme Park's kind of a hard map to play on attack. It's just is kind of a box, really hard to enter and get walls open. Chalet, you can be a little more free. So we just let him kind of take advantage of the map. You know, something he couldn't do on theme park, just a bit harder, and we let him loose. And I think it's just a Chalet thing.
All right. Well, definitely a Chalet thing, but also a little bit of a maybe like that, like you're saying earlier, the cat ears, the jingling collar kind of thing. So it worked for Sweater today. Are we going to see that incorporated with more of you going forward?
Personally, I will never wear that. I don't know. I think it kind of debuffs how handsome I am, but otherwise, I think Sweater needs to maybe get cat ears implanted on him. You know, so I think for him it's worth it to invest in maybe like a Louis Vuitton pair of cat ears, like typical NA players.
Yeah, that'd be swanky. So I gotta ask, what animal would you be willing to dress up as on the desk?
Or would you put the cowboy hat on that you had on stream?
I don't know, maybe the cowboy hat, but I'm kind of a dog. You know, I was barking up there at those SSG frogs. I mean, you know, sometimes the dog gotta bark at them, and I feel like I got some dog in me, you know.
All right, we'll look forward to that. I expect it tomorrow, right away. All right, thanks for joining us, though. Congrats on the win today. Looking forward to game tomorrow.
Thank you.
We are back here at the Rainbow Six North American League. Doa Jesse Jacob here with you at the desk, and over in Las Vegas is none other than LaXIng from Team Oxygen getting the win here in overtime, 8-7 victory. LaXIng, obviously Oxygen had a deep run at the major. Here you are back in stage 2. Do you feel like, though, between stage 1 and stage 2, the level of difficulty in the league is kind of ramped up a bit?
I think just the league overall, regardless of stage 1, I think it's stayed pretty consistent. I think a lot of teams, you know, with the roster, some of the newer teams that made roster changes, and then the teams that have stuck it out with their old rosters, like this is the most competitive I think the NAL has been, regardless of stages.
LaXIng, I want to ask you about the end of that game because you guys were kind of pushed up against the ropes. Round 9, you guys called attack timeout as well. I know you've talked in the past about how important the coaches are on Oxygen. Was there anything that Redeemer said to you guys that allowed you to make that comeback to win those final 4 rounds in a row, or was it some other adaptation that you guys made?
So actually recently with a lot of the timeouts, whether it was with Parabellum, Beastcoast, or even TSM now, we tend to go out, like once we lose the round in that little split second before it actually dives into the next round, we're all talking about like, you know, what could have happened, what went wrong, and how can we fix it for the future. So Redeem calls the timeout to kind of just give us a little breather, get a little better understanding. But overall, like we all had it down pretty situated of like what needed to be fixed going into those rounds going into the future rounds.
When it comes to keeping things consistent overall for your team, I know I talked a little bit earlier on the pregame desk about how it feels like sometimes you guys operate at like at most like 80% efficiency. Sometimes there's one player that it feels like there's a lot of expectations on their shoulders and then doesn't quite perform in some way. I was curious if that was something that you felt as well, whether from stage 1 to the major to now. Where would you guys say you're operating at, and are you satisfied with having 3 wins at this point, or were they a little bit closer than you would have liked?
I think you can be happy with a win, no matter what. It is important. You know, that is what the ultimate goal is to win. But, you know, I don't think any of us are happy that we aren't winning in relegation. You know, 3 points is very huge than just getting 2 points. But again, a win is a win. So, like, you know, there is, you know, things to be happy about, things to be proud about. But overall, like, we do hold ourselves to higher expectations and, you know, want to win in relegation and not have to, you know, duke it out in these overtimes.
Yeah, I'd imagine. I want to ask one more quick question before we let you go. What are the comms like in those clutch situations when it comes down to that win or die OT round? Who's doing the most talking? Who's kind of the one keeping the team going at that point?
I would just say, just for like an overview with this new roster, this is probably the most vocal everyone has been throughout each round, whether it's at the start, whether it's in the middle, or whether it's the end of the round. Like everyone is talking and making sure everyone is understanding, you know, what they're watching, what's being held, or who's on what cam. So I would say overall, like just the comms are on top, like they're top tier in my opinion. And another thing that I will say with this roster is the composure of this roster versus previous rosters of OXG is amazing. Just for a player such as myself, having Newers and Ethan and, you know, adding them to our roster and having the composure, because that's, you know, that's what builds a championship team in my opinion is, you know, when you're down in the slumps, you know, rounds are looking awful, like it was even with Beastcoast 0-4 lead, you know, everyone was still had their mental, everyone was still very composed, and we brought it back. And today, you know, we went down, rounds were looking grim, it looks like we were going to lose, but everyone still kept their composure no matter what the scoreline was, no matter what their KD was. Like, everyone stayed composed, and the result today just also shows it yet again that we were down, but we brought it back 8-6.
Yeah, keeping the mental solid, definitely something that Oxygen doesn't seem to struggle with.
It's important. Sure. I mean, that's what builds a championship roster. You aren't just going to breeze through. It's important to have that mindset, regardless of the rounds, that you can come back, that you can bounce back, that you aren't looking at the negatives. You're just focusing on the next round and trying to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely makes a champion, and made a win for you guys today. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us a little bit. I always love the insight. Good luck on your matches tomorrow, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you, guys. You guys look great, by the way.
Oh, you too.
Right back at
you too, man.
I appreciate it. Have a good one, guys.
We have returned here at the Rainbow Six North American League. Doe and Jesse Jacob here with you at the desk, and over in Las Vegas is none other than Gryxr from Soniqs, fresh off of their first win of the stage. Gryxr, it's got to feel good, obviously, to get to this point, to get the win. Do you feel like the progress for the team is coming along? Obviously, the win certainly helps a lot with that, but take me sort of through the timeline of how things went last stage, what was done during the offseason, what did you do as a team to get yourself to the point to get the win today?
Coordination and vibes was probably the biggest thing that we struggled with. I mean, during the offseason, it wasn't, who's like washed now, who's bad now. It wasn't like all of a sudden we're just horrible, because, I mean, it wasn't so long after stage 1 started. So I think we just try to knock down just playing together more than anything. I think our teamwork lacked. I think our teamwork has been lacking, and I think we've slowly started to show it to be a lot more prominent. This last week we just came off a 7-5 and an 8-7, which I think could have gone either way if we just capitalized on little mistakes. But I think it was just our team play more than anything. I think something that we're really strong suit in is how well we play off of each other, and I think obviously when that's lacking in some aspects, it just kind of follows through to the whole team.
Okay, well, came together today, that's for sure.
Gryxr, I wanted to ask you about the map ban phase, because you guys had the final decision. You had to choose between Chalet and Oregon. You decided to go Oregon instead of Chalet, which is a map that you guys have historically liked quite a bit. Was there something about DarkZero that made you want to pick Oregon against this team? Had you guys been prepping this pretty hard in the backlines?
Yeah, I mean, we knew how they played Oregon. We definitely studied it. It wasn't a surprise that we were going to play Oregon or any of the maps as far as the bans went. I mean, we had a specific map pool that we were going to play them on, and all those maps we felt equally confident on. I think they almost expected for us to go to Chalet. I think that's why they left it up. I think whether that is that some counter strats against us or whatever it may be, I think even us picking Oregon against them was a little bit of a bluff.
Okay.
I don't think they were expecting that. So, yeah, I mean, Oregon was no surprise to us. I think we were equally confident on Oregon as we were on Chalet. So. And I mean, we showed up, so I'm glad that it went the way that it did.
We've seen the defensive role swap for Super playing more of a roam-centric role as opposed to playing on-site, and Kansan being the one to usually anchor a lot. How is that working for you guys behind the scenes, and what is it freeing up the rest of you to do on defense?
Yeah, so it's interesting you touch up on that, because on defense, every now and then there's what people call suicide spots, where it's no matter what, that player's going to eventually die, whether it's in 30 seconds, a minute and a half, he's just there to burn time. And allowing Seth or Super to play those positions for us allows the other 4 of us to make plays around him, and to basically, it's pretty much he's stuck, and our objective is to make plays around him and play together, and late rounds, it's always always us last alive. And I think it allows the team to excel, because, I mean, I think we all work really well against each other, and when Seth is playing those spots and we can just make any play we want around him, it really helps us just play defense the way we want to.
All right. So one more question before I let you go here. Tomorrow the team is playing Oxygen. I'm curious what your thoughts are going into that one, because they're certainly a strong team, but they've looked a little bit more vulnerable of late. So what are you thinking?
I mean, it's just like any other team for us, really. Just because, I mean, they're Oxygen and have the players that they are doesn't mean it's any different from any other team you want to compare it to. We've historically had really good matches against Oxygen, so it should be a good game regardless. But, I mean, I'm confident that we'll be able to pull through with the win.
All right. Well, you got the win today. Best of luck in your match tomorrow, and thanks for taking the time to sit down with us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
See you.